are some intangibles that those projections failed to take into consideration.
The crowd was going crazy, and there's not much in life that's better than that.
You're listening to Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys on the 95.7 The Game Podcast Network.
Hello there. Welcome back to the Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys podcast. Sam Lubman here with Joe Shasky. Episode 53, the combined points by Stephen Curry and Dante DiVincenzo in Game 7 against the Kings on Sunday. I know this is a Giants podcast, but we're still kind of cheesing about that Warriors victory on Sunday. And when you think, big performances in Game 7 like Steph Curry did on Sunday, it's hard not to think about another great performance in a Game 7, and that was Madison Bumgarner's back in 2014. Shasky, I'm going to bring you in here with a very unfair and impossible question. Who had the better Game 7, Steph Curry or Madison Bumgarner?
I mean, one was on the World Series stage. I would even put Pablo's 3 home runs against the greatest pitcher of that time, Justin Verlander. Closely behind Matt Bumgarner is clearly the number one, but closely behind him. I mean, Pablo hitting 3 home runs, in that game was unreal. I mean, Reggie Jackson and Babe Ruth. That was unbelievable. And then in terms of first round, because I watched a lot of Giants playoff series, Hackman Leonard obviously having a great postseason. That was special. Cody Ross, special. That first performance from Tim Lincecum in 2010.
Oh, yeah. That was...
Right? That 15K performance on the same night Roy Halladay threw a no-hitter. That's what I was thinking of in terms of opening playoff rounds performances. That was an all-time performance.
Tone setter. Oh, yeah. It was a tone setter for that postseason run. Really a tone setter for the 5-year run that we were about to witness. Talk about, first round elimination games, great performances. I kind of think about, Buster Posey's grand slam in Game 5 against the Reds.
There you go.
That was another good one there. But, again, it's just that was so fun watching that on Sunday. It reminds you of all the other great playoff performances we have seen from Bay Area teams, especially the Giants. It was just fun to watch, really. And it just, whenever you see a virtuoso Steph Curry performance like that, we were giddy about it all day yesterday. Less so today, because we're moving on to the second round. But we are talking about Giants baseball right now. And while the Warriors did have a great weekend in Sacramento, the Giants, not so much a great weekend in Mexico City. A lot of home runs, Shasky. I think there were 15 home runs, 15 combined home runs, 8 for the Giants, 7 for the Padres over the weekend at a stadium that was, 2,000 feet above Coors Field. Just seeing the Giants go to Denver is enough to give me anxiety. This was like Denver on steroids. What did you think, just, right off the bat, watching all these 2 games in Mexico City?
I don't understand all the crying. I enjoyed it. It's something different. You're telling me that Yankee Stadium in April, when it's 40 degrees, plays the same as it does in the middle of July? No, it doesn't. Now, it may not be as home run crazy, but it's certainly not hitter friendly. AT&T Park on a Tuesday night when it's 46 degrees and blustery and the marine layer is thick and heavy. You think the ball's traveling? We're all crying about this. I'm not. I don't think you are. But I saw Sean Estes crying about this, and I'm like, Sean, shut up. You play baseball at Candlestick as a pitcher. Do you know how much of an advantage you have? I don't expect things to be all equal. And here's the irony. Giants had as many home runs opportunities as the Padres. So I'm tired of hearing it. I knew the Padres bats would be woken up. I love that we're growing the game in Mexico. It is a baseball-starved country that truly loves it. I wish we could do more things down there. Okay, maybe you do the humidifier or move the fences back a little. Stop crying. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. The atmosphere was great. Why does everything have to be a bitch session for everyone to complain and cry because their team got the short end of the stick?
I see. I'm not totally on board with what Essa said, but it was fun. It was fun seeing all the home runs. The offense was fun. That field played really fast too. You saw these ground balls; they were skittering across the ground. The idea of having to watch a team play 81 games there,
that I agree with.
That would be pretty brutal to watch. I think for a quick, weekend getaway, I think that works. I saw people, tweeting over the weekend, who cares about the home runs, the elevation? We need to get a team in Mexico City. It's the home runs are what it's all about. No, going to Denver is tough enough. To have to go to Mexico City on top of that, RIP all pitcher ERAs. No one would want to pitch there. I think it was it's good for a fun weekend. As far for a team playing up that high of an elevation, I feel like it would not work out long term. One thing maybe I would like to see there, how about an all-star game and a home run derby in Mexico?
That would be fun.
We thought a home run derby in Colorado was crazy. Imagine adding another 2,000 feet of elevation. Manny Machado hit a home run to right field on Sunday. that was 98 miles an hour off the bat.
Sam, why is there so much crying in baseball about things have to be uniform? The dimensions aren't uniform. Every ballpark plays different. We're not all at sea level. Like, I don't understand this crying and complaining from the baseball fan that everything must be equal when nothing's equal. Like, nothing is equal. They were using home run balls for Aaron Judge last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, yeah, nothing's obviously equal when it comes to baseball. That's fine. It's one of the only sports where all the dimensions are different, all the ballparks play different. But there is a line, I feel, and I feel when you get so far above sea level like that, it's just it creates almost too different of a dynamic there.
So, do you think that Salt Lake City shouldn't have a team because of elevation concerns?
Well, Salt Lake City, it's right around a mile above Denver, isn't it? I feel like where Denver is at a mile above sea level, I feel like that's your ceiling, for lack of a better word. Like anything above the purple line. What was that?
They made it to a World Series. They're acting like they're at a competitive disadvantage. I don't know.
I feel like it'd be tough on really, really tough on pitchers.
Oh, that I agree with. It would be very difficult to field a team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that right there is the problem as to why maybe you would not want to go to Mexico City for a team full time, because when you have a situation where if building a team is going to be that difficult because of the location, I feel like, maybe not Mexico City. There's probably other places in Mexico that are probably closer to sea level, perhaps, where you can do it. Maybe it's a dome stadium. Maybe it's a humidifier.
Really?
Hey, baseball in Mexico, is it possible? I'm sure it is. Seeing it in Mexico City over the weekend, I feel like it would be almost like too much of a good thing. Maybe too many home runs, too much high elevation. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. I know maybe I'm raining on the parade here a little bit.
I just don't understand why everyone has to, the fair police need to come out for everything. It's a 2-game series. And if they built a division in Mexico, it would be freaking awesome. And you would want to visit to go see a road series of the Giants playing against the Tijuana whatevers or the Mexico City whatevers. Like, I don't know. I'm all for it. I think this is an opportunity and a lane for them to figure something out. I don't know. I am not opposed to it. I think everybody bitching and crying and complaining, there are smart people that can figure out amicable solutions. And again, I keep going back to, if you think the Arizona Diamondbacks, their stadium in July plays the same way that AT&T does in the middle of May on a Tuesday night, you're tripping.
Yeah. Well, again, it was still two fun games. It was nice to see the Giants bats wake up. Unfortunately, the pitching, I almost feel like you got to put an asterisk over the pitching stats from this weekend, because these pitchers got lit up, and it was just a rough time on the mound for the Giants pitchers. Sean Manaea took the start in that Saturday game, and that start was even rougher for him than for most guys. He took a 107-mile-an-hour line drive off the knee. You could see the amount of pain he was in just watching it. I mean, he was kind of shaking the trainer off. He was just really all up in the feelings about getting, the fastball right off the knob of the knee, it looked like there. And he still stays in and tries to fight through it. It was, I guess, admirable to kind of watch him gut through that. At the same time, he's pitching. You're just like, your legs hurting for him. Another kind of a positive, though, that we saw this weekend was we kind of saw Mitch Haniger finally arrive. He got his first couple home runs here. He's finally kind of, take more of a presence in the middle of that lineup. Something the Giants could really use if they are to kind of reverse kind of this new 4-game losing streak that they're on right now.
Boy, watching Mitch Haniger this weekend, I was like, I could see it. I see what they see. Like Conforto, I've seen what they see. Like, those are nice acquisitions. Just wish they had some center of the order, stud that you could surround these other guys with. Like, to me, Haniger is a perfect 5-hitter. Like, in an ideal situation, if you had Buster still, or maybe you land Correa at the top of the order, or you landed Aaron Judge, or, one day Marco Luciano comes up and he's that clear number 3 or number 4 hitter. Like, those are the kind of guys you could supplement with some sort of a superstar player in the middle of the order. Like, I like him. I like Mitch Haniger. And I feel like it's kind of been like the butt of the joke. It's like, oh, Mitch Haniger is going to bring him out to the ballpark. It's like, Sam, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's not going to drive guys away from the ballpark, but yeah, he's not a marquee name. It's hard to sell Mitch Haniger as a marquee name, but that, as long as, he can't be that present in the middle of. I do agree with you. That 5 spot, I think, would be perfect for him. Who handles that 4 spot? I know JD Davis has been there a little bit at times. JD Davis in the 4 spot, I do like a lot right now. But yeah, I think, once you could, Haniker does kind of feel maybe miscast, being leaned upon as a cleanup guy. But again, this is the same organization this is the same organization that once had Benji Molina hitting cleanup. And it was like, yeah, that's all right. Ray Durham was once upon a time the opening day cleanup hitter. Maybe the Giants just have a cursed history with cleanup guys. It seems like it. They haven't really ever since Bonds. I mean, even Buster Posey as a cleanup guy, he was miscast. He never really felt right there. The Giants, again, it's a continuing search for, again, replacing legends. They're trying to find a new left fielder since Bonds, trying to find a new catcher now. They're trying to find someone else who can handle that 4th spot in the lineup. And it just does not look like it is Mitch Haniger, but he might be him and JD Davis, probably the best options right now for the foreseeable future.
And I think this reinforces my belief. Farhan is good on the outside the box thinking acquisitions, like, shoring up things with a budget, with a small budget. The question is not like, can he find, a 5-hitter and a 6-hitter, and can he find a 3 and a 4-hitter? Like, that's either in his own system or via free agency or through a trade. And that you're incomplete. Like, we don't judge you on the drapes. I judge you on the foundation of the home, of the kitchen, of the bathroom.
I feel like that is kind of the goal here. It's like they want to find, Hanigers and Confortos. They want to find those guys on the open market. But when you do find that big bopper who could sit in the middle of the lineup, my guess is they are hoping that is going to be internal. They do hope that it's going to be a Marco Luciano or even a Grant McCray or a Vaughn Brown. Someone has to come up internally and be that big bat in the lineup, because I mean, the last couple years with free agency, you had Carlos Correa the last 2 years, Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, like big time sluggers like that. I know we've seen a lot on the market in the last few years. They don't happen. It does not happen very often. Very rarely do you see legitimate 4-hitters hitting the open market. In the next few years, I mean, the best hitter you're probably going to see on the open market in the next couple of years might be Matt Chapman. And that's not a 4-hitter.
He's not worth the money.
Yeah. And so the Giants, they're going to have to, develop their 4 spot internally. One spot in the lineup that I'm really kind of liking right now, Shasky, is the top 2 spots in the order. We've talked about Tyro Estrada a lot.
He's been awesome.
I'm really liking Lamont Wade Jr. a little bit more now in the 1 spot. That 1-2 punch of Lamont Wade Jr. and Estrada to lead off games, it's kind of working. I know we kind of get on Lamont Wade for he walks too much. He doesn't get enough hits. But you're looking at kind of the production, the numbers that he's putting up right now. It's very similar to what he put up in 2021. It's just been only 73 plate appearances so far this year in the 1 spot. He's hitting 259, 16 walks, and 4 home runs. The strikeout rate's a little bit down from 2021 when he hit 266 in the leadoff spot. He had 16 home runs. The big difference, though, he had 22 walks in the leadoff spot in 21. He has already the 16 walks this year. He's seeing the zone better. He's striking out a little bit less. You're seeing a little bit more power. I would like to see a little bit more contact to offset the lack of speed. I believe Sunday he had a moment where you drew the walk. Estrada hit a hard single to right to Tatis out there. And Lamont Wade, he was thrown out at third by Tatis because he doesn't have that first to third speed. I think you need a little bit more contact from him to offset that lack of speed. But other than that, I think you might have a solid, leadoff 1-2 punch right there.
Yeah, I know that Wade's been walking a lot and his OBP is excellent. He's not a bat on ball, run the bases kind of a guy. Like, he's not prototypical to me. But I do believe he's making the most of his opportunities, and it's good to see him round into form. I love Estrada. I would love a more speedster version of someone like Lamont Wade Jr. Yeah. That's just me, the way I would like to build my team. You're talking about ballpark construction, going first to third, stealing bases, like the whole league stealing bases, but the Giants, it feels like.
No, the Giants are not big on the stolen base, and maybe they can get a little bit creative here. Maybe it's a situation where you use that 9 spot as an extra leadoff spot. Maybe you throw Austin Slater in there to get a little bit more speed at the bottom of the lineup to put in front of Lamont Wade Jr. so that when the lineup turns over, you got a little bit more speed at the bottom. Maybe they can do a little bit something like that. Really quick before we move on, though, we do have a couple injuries we need to get into. Mike Yastrzemski and Brandon Crawford both hitting the IL. Cal Stevenson and Brett Wisely were called up. Probably going to see a lot more Brett Wisely in the outfield now to take Mike Yastrzemski's time. But, man, seeing Yaz go down after the start of the season he's had, it doesn't sound like it's going to be an awful injury. It doesn't sound like it's going to be out for too long, but 3-4 weeks, possibly a month. Just horrible luck for Yaz.
Yeah, I just the guy watching him come in on that ball, I knew right away he was hurt, and I feel really bad for the guy. I really do, because he was really playing well, and I think this is an injury that's going to really hurt them. He gives them tremendous defensive strengths up the middle when they're not the greatest defensive outfield. Even though I do like Conforto in right field, like they're in for some trouble here. I don't think this is a week's injury. I think this is a month's injury. And I think that they're downplaying it right now until they get further information. I'm really worried about this one. And it sucks because it did feel like Yaz was turning the corner.
Yeah, the early reports are it's a grade 1 hamstring strain. Doesn't seem like there should be any surgery there, but hammies are tricky. It's going to take a while. And a big part of the Giants' offensive strategy is being able to have Slater and Yastrzemski kind of platooning out there in center field. Slater handles the righties. Slater handles the lefties. Yaz handles the righties. That's why I think you'll probably see a little bit more Brett Wisely. He hit 289 in the minors against righties the last couple of years, but his bat needs to come around, see the major league pitching. We'll see what Cal Stevenson has, but that is a devastating injury for the Giants to have to deal with right now.